Hello YouTube community, my name is the Jacob13 and today we're back with some more Pokemon the Trading Card Game online. So, as I mentioned in the last episode, this series is pretty much just going to be me telling stories or sort of just talking about random stuff. And since I didn't really have any stories that sort of came to mind at first when I wanted to do this video, I decided, you know what, I'm just going to look up some thought-provoking questions and sort of try to answer them. And hopefully these questions will answer questions about me or things about me that interest you guys as the audience. So, let us begin. This is on the website livin3.com /50 thought-provoking questions about life. So the first question is, when was the last time you tried something new? It depends on what they mean by trying something new. If they're talking about just new in general, like activity-wise, or if they're talking new in general, not in general, new activity-wise, new, I mean, I guess it is talking about things that were activity-wise. And that's a good question. You know, I really haven't tried many new things recently. I guess the last new thing that I tried was playing the Pokemon Trading Card Game online. And that has been recently within the, past week and a half, 2 weeks, roughly, I guess. I don't really try a lot of new things, and I wonder why that is. I guess it's just because I'm so ingrained in the old things that I do. I mean, that's pretty obvious. Anyway, what makes you want to do better? A lot of the time, things that make me want to do better involve my friends or family. They need somebody to do something, so I'm like, oh, okay, I'll do this. Or I think that they need somebody to do something, so I try to do that. And then there's also a lot of the time things that I do mainly for me. Sort of like, I want to do this because it will, I don't know, make me get closer to being rich or something. I don't know, something weird like that. By the way, this Ampharos EX, it needs to be nerfed. Somebody needs to nerf that. I don't know how, but within 2 minutes of playing, he already has 4 of those energy things on him that he can use, and he can do so much damage with it. It's just overpowered. It's insane. But that aside, so yeah, a lot of the times family, friends, occasionally my own want, not really need. And by my own want, I mean things that will hopefully benefit me more, I guess. So yeah. What do you love to do? Do you do it often? And if not, why not? So we'll start off with the first question. What do you love to do? I enjoy reading a lot. Playing video games and recording for YouTube are things that I enjoy. Though sometimes recording for YouTube, for whatever reason, gets on my nerves. I don't know why that is, because the editing part's a lot of fun, and when I'm playing the games it's a lot of fun, but for whatever reason when I think about it, it's just not nearly as fun. I don't quite get it. I also really love spending time with my friends that I'm really close with. I don't do it as often as I would like to. That's mostly my bad, not theirs. So, yeah. Do I do it often? I don't do a lot of the things that I love to do often. Part of that's laziness, part of it is me just not really thinking about doing it, and another part of it is me being somewhat busy, you know? I'm not the busiest person in the world, but when I distract myself during the times when I'm not busy, and then when I'm busy I decide, hey, I want to do this thing, things don't really go the way I want them to go. And if not, why not? I just explained that. Okay. What can you do today that you could not do a year ago? Today I can use my blue snowball, I guess. No, I had my blue snowball last year, too. I guess it's more of an activity than, what do you have now that you didn't have before that allows you to do things. Yeah. What can I do today that I can't do, that I couldn't do a year ago? Probably be able to manage my self-control a lot better. Last year, not necessarily last year, but the year before that especially, I wasn't really good at that. and I've gotten somewhat better at it. Obviously, it's still not the best, but today I can do that much better than I could then, so I'll just go ahead and use that, I guess. Where do you see yourself in 1 year, 5 years, and 10 years? In 1 year, I see myself being in pretty much the same place. Doing schooling stuff, possibly doing YouTube stuff, obviously. More than likely going to hopefully be in a relationship by that point, I would think. Not like a committed relationship, probably an open relationship. Just to start off, because I mean I'm still young. But maybe a committed relationship, depending on the right girl. A lot of things like that, probably, yeah. In 5 years, I'd hope to have... I actually might still be in schooling at that point. I might be going for like a master's around that time period. I don't really know yet. But I do see myself having a part-time job at the very least. Being somewhat involved in politics, not just in the way of like voting, but as in like the actual process of going out and recruiting people or talking to people about things, or whatever along those lines. And yeah, hopefully having a decent amount of money so that I can be prepared for the future. Especially one of the big things that I guess would tie more into the 10 years is I want to be able to buy a house outright with just cash. I'd rather not pay for mortgage on all of that. That's one of my big things, is I really want to pay for things in cash, not get caught in the interest cycle of debt, where you have interest on different things and it screws you up because of how much interest you have. Have to pay back eventually, and eventually you get caught in this like cycle of having to pay. I don't know what this dude was doing, by the way. He was putting the wrong things on for the longest period of time. Like, he didn't have any water, I guess, so he was just putting those things on, but I don't know. I don't quite get it. It was weird. Whatever the case. And in 10 years, hopefully by that point I'll be married, in a relationship that's long-standing, have a good job, have a house, have a car, be an adult, basically. By the age of roughly 30, I'd hope that all that stuff would come to fruition. I don't know if I'd have kids by that point. It's a very likely possibility that by the age of 30 I'll have kids, but I don't quite know. Do I like my job? I don't have a job. If you're talking about if I like college, though, not entirely. It's one of the sad things. I really want to like college because it's basically just being there to learn, which is wonderful. But for whatever reason, I'm not super into it at the moment. And I guess it's probably because I want to do other things besides sitting in class for a long period of time. I want to learn on my own. I'm not super good at actually committing to that, though, which is part of my problem. There's a huge problem with me. So, I don't know. What would you do different if you were reborn? If they're talking about being reborn within this lifetime, I probably would not make a lot of the same mistakes. So, for example, I probably wouldn't have dialed 911 that one time. I would love to have not, like, if this is with my hindsight and all that, I understand things. I would not wanted to cry as much when I was a kid. I mean, I learned a lot from it in the end. I learned a lot of life lessons from it, but I wouldn't have wanted to do that. I wanted to sort of get past that stage. I probably would have spent a lot more time actually researching politics when I was younger and getting into that earlier, because I really am enjoying learning that kind of stuff. I don't know what else I would have done if I was reborn. in that sense. In the sense of being reborn, just in general, I would have loved to have been a dog. Being a dog would probably be top 10 of what I'd want to do if I was reborn and there was this cycle where you could become different animals and stuff. I'd be a dog mainly due to the fact that I wouldn't have responsibility. That seems to be a big thing that I don't like as a human, having so much responsibility. Plus, I'd hope to become part of a good home, obviously, but so much love and care, you know? I don't feel like I get enough of that as a human, and a lot of it is self-inflicted. I tend to, for whatever reason, stray away from talking about my feelings. I guess it's because I'm male. And I tend to stray away from, trying to reach my needs of physical touch, One of the biggest things that I've learned recently that I enjoy talking about with other people is the 5 love languages. So these love languages are an essential guide to how you are able to communicate with other people, your feelings of appreciation and love, I guess, pretty much, that thing, something. And the 5 love languages are words of affirmation, touch, acts of service, gift giving or receiving, and what do they call it? Quality time. And to explain those real quick, quality time is just the time that you spend with another person being nearby and being able to do stuff. So for some people this is just sitting on the couch watching TV with their SO. For other people this is taking hikes or going on adventures, That kind of thing would be quality time. Words of affirmation would be when somebody tries to do something, encouraging them. So if your significant other is going for a promotion or something, encouraging them to do that promotion would be a words of affirmation kind of thing. Acts of service is just doing stuff around the house that they normally do. So if your wife or your, significant other is the best term to keep using. If your significant other is washing dishes like all the time, one day just, taking that away from her, saying like, I got this, I'll wash the dishes for you. That would be an act of service. Touch, obviously, things like hugging, kissing, cuddling, sex, that would be touch. Obvious. That's pretty much the most obvious of all of them. And then gift giving is also very obvious. When you're giving gifts to other people, that's how you show love. When you're receiving gifts, that's what sort of like makes you feel loved. So from those 5 things, the things that are most important to me are quality time and words of affirmation. But really close to them is touch and sort of the feeling of another human being, sort of giving you a hug or something. It's mainly hugs and cuddles for me. I don't get enough of those. But yeah, so where were we? Yes, okay, number 8. Have you done anything lately worth remembering? Nope, I have not. Should I have? More than likely. I really want to write, and I've been watching a lot of sort of motivational videos where they're like, don't say I want to do this, just do it. You can do it, just do it. Stop saying tomorrow. That entire spiel that Shia LaBeouf went on, it's actually pretty much the truth about life. If you quit worrying about the negative effects, and just do the thing that you want to do, you'll oftentimes find yourself being much more happy in the end. My difficulty with that is motivation, and then when I have the motivation, I want to not do anything for whatever reason. It's when I'm not motivated, I don't want to do anything. But when I'm motivated, I want to not do anything. It's weird. I don't understand it. What are you excited about? Probably my biggest exciting thing coming up soonish is the next Marvel movie. I'm very much a kid at heart still, I guess. I don't have I haven't grown up. Yeah. That's one of the most exciting things in my life at the moment. What is my biggest problem? My biggest problem is self-esteem and, sort of getting past my negative side. For whatever reason, I'm always downplaying my strengths and overstating my weaknesses to myself. And I don't entirely know why. It's just a thing that I do. I also have a huge problem with laziness, and I think the two go hand in hand. Laziness comes from feeling like I'm not worth anything, and so I'm sort of just waiting for something to happen, but nothing's going to happen without me actually having something happen. So, when was the last time you traveled somewhere new? First time I actually traveled there, but it wasn't a new place to travel to. I went to National Harbor for the first time by myself, like I was driving kind of thing. That was in February. But I think before that, and I guess the first time I traveled someplace that I haven't been, was when I went to the concert with one of my good friends. I went to a concert that was sort of like a festival type thing, a one-day festival. And we saw Ghost, we saw Shinedown, we saw part of, but not a good amount, it wasn't a good amount of Rush. And we saw Five Finger Death Punch. And that was somewhere in Virginia Beach, I want to say, just around that area. And that was in May of last year, 2016. What would I regret not doing? I would regret not writing. If I were to, be on my deathbed and I hadn't written a book or a movie or a video game or anything of that nature that I really want to do, I would regret not having done that. So, what makes you smile? A lot of the time it's really like just my friends being my friends, them doing their thing. My voice is dying for whatever reason. I haven't talked that much. But yeah, that makes me smile. Occasionally I'll see a good meme, and those will make me smile. But probably the best thing is just kids being kids. I really love watching kids do their thing. I don't know what it is, and that sounds creepy now that I say it out loud. I don't mean it like that. I mean it like kids playing and just sort of enjoying their innocence and youth. That still sounds really creepy. I'm moving on. If the average lifespan was 50 years, would you do anything differently? Probably not. Probably not. Yeah, I would want to do something different, but would I actually? No. I more than likely wouldn't. What do you want most out of life? I want to have a sense of actually mattering to some people. That's pretty much my biggest thing. I want to, I guess that's also sort of like question number 17. What do you want to be remembered by? I want to be remembered as the guy who inspired people to do good things for others, kind of thing. And I also really want to make a difference in people's lives. When they're sad, I want to be able to make them happy. When they're downtrodden, I want to be able to find a way to make them, be able to bounce back. I want to be able to help them bounce back. Or if I can't help them, or they don't want my help, being able to inspire them to do it themselves. That kind of thing. If all came back around to me, would it help you or hurt you? In this case, karma, basically, is how I view the world with that one. And a lot of the time it's how it's helped me, but even more of the time it's probably hurt me. I don't exactly have like reasons for why that is. Like, I don't know the 100% of that one, but it has more often than not helped me. I'm a very, knock on wood, very lucky person. Anything that something should happen that like would be against my favor tends to work in my favor for whatever reason. Best example would be Right now, I'm sort of failing a few classes, and one of the classes I have basically a chance to do pretty much everything for full credit. And that's the kind of luck that happens to me for whatever reason. But there's also a lot of really bad hurt things, and I think I tend to focus on them a lot more than they actually are deserving the credit for. But things that like come to mind that would be within that bounds are I tend to be very lonely a lot of the time, and if karma has any effect on why that's a thing, that would be probably the biggest hurting factor. That and the things that happened in my family's past. Maybe even depression a little bit, though I don't think that's karma so much as it is genetics. You know, I have a difficult time sort of reconciling what is scientifically, that you can prove it scientifically or you can talk about it scientifically, and what is just something that you, for whatever reason, cannot explain through logic and reason. So yeah, there's if you had the chance to go back in time, yeah, 15, 16, 17 were the same things. I just went over 18, 19. If you had the chance to go back in time and change one thing, what would you change? In my own life, I would probably want to change my father dying. Having him around would have been very nice. But in terms of like real world stuff, I really would want to see what would have happened if Stalin hadn't taken control of communist Russia, and if Lenin had been in power longer. I really want to see how that would have turned out. I don't think it would have been much different in terms of like the fear-mongering of communism, but I know it would have been really different for Russia itself, and maybe to this day they wouldn't be, they would still be communist and the Cold War would be going on. I don't say the Cold War being on would be a good part, but I kind of would want to see what would happen if Stalin didn't kill as many people as he did. I don't know why, but like an alternate reality, alternate history kind of thing. But that just sparks an interest in me. Alright. What stands between me and happiness? And this will probably be the last topic because this video is running out of time. So, standing between me and happiness is myself, pretty much. And this is the case for a lot of people. Most of the time, you are unhappy because you are doing something that makes you unhappy. This is not always the case, but it is probably a good 8 times out of 10 the case that you are doing something that is not beneficial for you. Good examples of this would be being in a relationship where you are not getting the fullest potential out of it. A lot of people tend to, and I don't know exactly why this is, but a lot of people tend to settle for what they're given and don't want to look for other options for whatever reason. It's somewhat saddening to actually think about that people do that so often. But that's a big one. Other ones are like, you want to do something, and this is something I'm very guilty of. You want to do something, but instead of actually doing it, you say, I'll do it tomorrow, or I'll do it later. That's a big thing that stands between me and happiness. And probably worrying about things that you have no control over is another big one for people, especially myself. It tends to overwhelm you mentally, you know. You can't control everything, and the things that you can control, you have very little control of. So, it tends to be very frustrating for a lot of people. Understandably so, of course. And yeah, that's pretty much it for those first 20 questions of the 50. I guess next episode I will do the next 30. or probably not actually, because a lot of these are sort of meh. So I'll just do which ones that I like, I guess. Yeah, alright. So there's about 3 more minutes of actual footage. I don't really want to talk any more about these that I have at the moment. So I'll let you guys go ahead and enjoy that. My name's the Jack with 13. Aldino EX is overpowered, and I'm signing out. Catch you guys later.